Xiaomi's T-series devices are not necessarily successors to Xiaomi's flagship series, but rather more budget-friendly flagships that offer slightly different specs in order to suit certain consumers. And this year, Xiaomi have arguably released the best T-series device ever made, the Xiaomi 13T Pro. The 13T Pro introduces Leica optics for the first time in a T-series device, replaces the macro sensor for a telephoto camera, and now finally has an IP68 certification. It also now offers an extremely powerful flagship chipset, an even higher screen refresh rate, a larger cooling system, massive battery, and very fast wired charging. In addition to the phone itself, there's also a jelly case in the box, as well as a 6-amp charging cable and a 120-watt charging brick. This is TechNick, and this is my full review of Xiaomi's most insane T-series flagship ever, the Xiaomi 13T Pro. The device literally just got announced in the global market, and though it may be identical to the Redmi K60 Ultra, which released recently in China, the 13T Pro does offer a better camera setup. We'll get to those cameras a little later, but as for pricing, the Xiaomi 13T Pro starts at €749 for the base 8GB RAM, 256GB storage variant, and goes all the way up to €999 for the top-end 16GB RAM, 1TB storage version. The design looks quite different to its predecessor as well as its Xiaomi 13 siblings, but it feels solid and looks absolutely stunning. The biggest takeaway here is the new camera module. It still has a silver line and Leica branding, much like we see on the Xiaomi 13 series, but the module itself is more squared off with angled edges on its sides and has protruding camera sensors. This large camera module sits on a curved, soft textured, BioComfort vegan leather backplate if you opt for the color which I have, known as Alpine Blue. It also comes in two other colorways, that being Meadow Green and Black, both of which have glossy backs made from glass. All color versions have plastic side frames, but if it weren't for the missing antenna lines, you probably wouldn't feel the difference. Their frames also match the color of their backplates, which is a nice touch. The leather version which I have comes in at 8.62mm thick, while the glass versions are even thinner at 8.49mm. The glass versions are however heavier at 206 grams as opposed to the leather variant, which comes in at 200 grams in weight. And one of the biggest upgrades this year is the inclusion of an IP68 dust and water resistant certification, which is usually something you only see in Xiaomi's top-end flagships. As mentioned earlier, the back is made from either vegan leather or glass, while the display is made from glass as well and is protected by Gorilla Glass 5. The flat crystal res AMOLED display is still the same size at 6.67 inches. It still boasts the same resolution, which sits somewhere between QHD and Full HD, and packs in the same 446 pixels per inch. It still has a 12-bit color depth, which can display over 68 billion colors, has 100% DCI-P3 coverage, and supports Dolby Vision, HDR10, HDR10+, and Widevine L1 content. Moving on to display changes, screen refresh rate has now increased from 120 to 144 Hz, which isn't exactly a noticeable upgrade, but it feels ridiculously smooth. There's still no LTPO tech here, but it can dynamically adjust from 30 Hz to 144 Hz thanks to adaptive sync technology. It sticks to the same touch sampling rate as before, that being 480 Hz, but this time PWM dimming has increased by quite a bit from 1920 Hz to a staggering 2880 Hz. But arguably its greatest display upgrade this year is its brightness, since it can now reach an insane 2600 nits of peak brightness, which puts it on par with the Xiaomi 13 Ultra and is significantly higher than the 12T Pro's 900 nits of peak brightness. When it comes to software, the 13T Pro makes use of MIUI 14 skinned over Android 13. This is of course Xiaomi's global software, so we are treated to full Google services and features such as Google Discover on the left of the home screen, Google Assistant with a swipe up gesture from the bottom left corner, as well as the Google Play Store pre-installed. There are plenty features which make this software skin so appealing, such as large folders and customizable widgets. There is a lot less bloatware compared to previous MIUI versions, and most importantly, Xiaomi have officially stated that the 13T series will be getting 4 generations of major Android software updates and 5 years of security patches. And to keep things running is the same large 5000 mAh battery, which is managed by Xiaomi's Surge G1 battery management chip. It also sticks to the same fast wired charging, that being 120 watts, which can get your phone from 0 to 100% in just 19 minutes, but this time heat dissipation has improved since it now houses a slightly larger vapor chamber liquid cooling system. The Xiaomi 13T Pro is powered by MediaTek's new flagship CPU manufactured by TSMC, that being the 4nm run Dimensity 9200 Plus chipset with a crazy max core clock speed of 3.35 GHz, and makes use of an integrated ARM Immortalis G715 GPU, which has been specifically designed to improve image processing, which helps when playing games or running demanding benchmarks. So it's no surprise to see it perform phenomenally well across multiple different benchmark tests, especially when it comes to graphics performance. It also packs in up to 16 gigs of fast LPDDR5X RAM with an option for an additional 8 gigs thanks to memory extension, and up to 1 terabyte of next-gen UFS 4.0 storage. And when putting all these specs to the test to play some of our favorite games, we were able to reach a stable 120 FPS in Real Racing 3, which is great, but we should be seeing a max of 144 FPS due to its 144Hz display, and I'm certain this beefy chipset is capable of that too, so I really hope this gets addressed with a future software update. We did however manage to get a solid 90 FPS while playing Call of Duty Mobile when set to ultra frame rate mode, which is the highest possible frame rate for this game regardless of which phone you decide to use. And when playing an even more demanding game such as Genshin Impact, which has a frame rate cap of 60 FPS, we were able to get an average frame rate of 60 FPS, which is fantastic, especially when setting all graphical settings to the max. The 13T Pro also makes use of Bluetooth 5.4, NFC, dual SIM 5G and Wi-Fi 7, so connectivity is on point. There is also a USB Type-C port, an IR blaster, decent haptics which can be customized within settings, as well as great sounding dual stereo speakers with Dolby Atmos support. The Xiaomi 13T Pro no doubt packs in some serious specs for gaming and entertainment, but some of its largest upgrades this year are found within its camera system. So let's start things off with that selfie camera. It has a tiny punch hole notch at the top center of its display, which houses an identical selfie camera to the one seen on the 12T Pro, that being a 26mm 20 megapixel sensor with an aperture of f2.2. Selfies during the day come out almost perfect with fantastic tonal range and detail, as well as offer superb edge detection when in portrait mode. But now it's time to test out selfie video performance. What's up guys, this is TechNick recording a selfie video on the brand new Xiaomi 13T Pro. Unfortunately, selfie video is capped at 1080p and 30 FPS. There is no 4K video option and there is no 60 FPS video option either. The good news is that there is indeed bokeh video when recording with the selfie cam, but once again it is limited to just 1080p and 30 frames per second. Selfie video comes out decently at night too, whether you record in bokeh or regular mode, especially in terms of brightness, since both modes dial back the frame rate to 25 FPS when shooting at night. Selfie photos at night come out average even when night mode is enabled. My face is a tad too polished even with beautify mode disabled, but even though detail is lacking at times, edge detection is still more than decent, even at night. Selfies are more than decent on Xiaomi's latest T-series device. But just like all other Xiaomi flagships, selfie video is unfortunately still capped at 1080p resolution, which is still a bit of a bummer. But now it's time for us to shift our focus to those back cameras. It has a triple camera setup on its back, which consists of an ultra-wide, a main, and a telephoto sensor. Gone are the days of useless macro cameras. We are now finally treated to a fully fledged 50 megapixel telephoto sensor, which has an aperture of f1.9, a focal length of 50mm, which can reach 2 times optical zoom, and makes use of phase detection autofocus. There's also a 12 megapixel ultra-wide camera, which has an aperture of f2.2 and a focal length of 15mm for a 120-degree field of view. And the main camera is a more than capable 1 in 1.28 inch sized 50 megapixel Sony IMX707 sensor with an aperture of f1.9, has a focal length of 24mm, and makes use of PDAF as well as optical image stabilization. And to round off all these specs is Xiaomi's own pro focusing system, and of course Xiaomi's partnership with Leica. which helped craft the 13T Pro's Leica Vario Summicron lens, and most notably provides us with two photogenic styles, that being Leica Vibrant and Leica Authentic. And you can use these different Leica styles with any of the three rear camera sensors. Leica Vibrant is more vivid, while Authentic is more natural, but since most users would likely opt for Leica Vibrant, that's what we'll be using for the remainder of these photos. Unfortunately, there is no macro camera or even a macro mode available, so the ultra-wide sensor will just have to do, which has things come out rather underwhelming. But taking a regular shot with the ultra-wide camera results in a stunning photo. The main sensor of course looks even better and packs in loads of detail when set to native 50 megapixel resolution, and while things are slightly more saturated when binned down, the photo looks more balanced overall. There is no way of taking a native 50 megapixel shot with the telephoto camera, so a binned down shot will just have to do. And I must say, I'm rather impressed with how well this telephoto sensor captures a scene at 2x optical zoom. 5x digital zoom looks absolutely fantastic, but things start to look a bit washed out when taking a snap at 10x. This is even more apparent at 20x, which is the max zoom range of the 13T Pro. Using the telephoto sensor to take a 2x optically zoomed shot in portrait mode looks amazing, but edge detection isn't exactly perfect. However, edge detection is on point when using the main camera to take a portrait shot. It's nice to see the main sensor offer impeccable natural depth when recording at 8K resolution, but it's worth mentioning that 8K video is limited only to the main camera. There is also a bokeh video mode, but it limits resolution to 1080p, and edge detection is a bit lackluster. Edge detection is slightly better when using the telephoto to record bokeh video, and looks quite a bit better too, but recording regular video with the telephoto looks even better, which provides a fantastic natural blur, incredible detail, and can shoot at a whopping 4K 60fps. Just like many Xiaomi flagships, it can also record slow motion video at 960fps in Full HD resolution, which is epic. And just like the 13 Ultra and 13 Pro, the 13T Pro can also shoot continuous 4K video, which allows you to seamlessly switch from the ultra-wide to the main to the telephoto all the way up to 10x digital zoom in one single video. Ultra-wide video is extremely smooth and can be shot at 4K resolution, but unfortunately the frame rate is capped at 30fps when recording at 4K. However, you can shoot 60fps video using the ultra-wide when dialing back the resolution to Full HD. It might not be as detail packed, but it comes out even more stable. Speaking of stability, there is also a Steady Video Pro mode which uses the ultra-wide sensor, though it's capped at 1080p 30fps just like with other Xiaomi flagships, and things are just as stable when using the main camera in Steady Video mode. It is however also capped at the same resolution and frame rate. The main camera can of course also shoot 4K 60fps video, which is very smooth and is on par with some of the best flagships around. 8K video looks great too and is packed with detail, but it's not quite as smooth as the previous video and is likely more suited for when standing still. Recording 8K video at night comes out quite a bit better than when compared to other devices on the market, but 4K video still outperforms at night thanks to it coming out smoother and brighter. Not to mention it controls noise grain better. And if you want things even brighter, there's always night video mode. However, it is capped at 1080p resolution unlike other Xiaomi flagships which can record 4K night mode video. Ultra-wide video came out looking a lot better than I was expecting at night, but it could have been a bit brighter. But after a little AI work, ultra-wide photos at night come out looking very well balanced and are packed with a lot more detail. The main sensor of course takes an even better snap at night, it's brighter, boasts more detail, and is considerably better at controlling light noise. Taking a 2x optical zoom shot with the telephoto camera had me very impressed, and even at 5x digital zoom, things still look very pleasant. 10x zoom still retains most of the detail at night, and while things look slightly washed out at 20x zoom, you can still make out exactly what's going on here. Using the 2x telephoto camera to take a photo of a human subject at night looks breathtaking when night mode is enabled, and even though it reverts to the main camera when using portrait mode, things still come out on a flagship level. Taking a portrait shot at one time using the main camera also does a superb job in terms of detail and background blur, and is even more detail packed when using the main camera to take a night mode photo. The 13T Pro is a big step up for Xiaomi in terms of camera performance when it comes to their T-series devices. It takes fantastic photos and videos in any lighting condition, packs in flagship camera features, and most importantly, finally switches out the macro sensor in place of a fully fledged telephoto camera. It may lack wireless charging and a higher resolution curved LTPO display, but some users will actually be thrilled that Xiaomi have stuck with a flat panel this year. Those are pretty much the only two things that separates it from its more premium, more expensive Xiaomi 13 siblings. And I'm okay with that, considering it's quite a bit cheaper. Let me know your thoughts of Xiaomi's best ever T-series device in the comment section down below. This is TechNick, and I'll catch you in the next one.